Hey everyone, just a quick reminder, this podcast is in no way affiliated with Disney Channel. All views stated in this podcast episode or any of the podcast episode are mine. Enjoy the show. Hey everyone, it's Matthew from That's So Matthew and you're watching Disney Channel. Let's podcast. Hey everyone, here are the people that guessed last week's show, episode, and guest. Jaden, German, Trevor, Lucy, and Josh. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of That's So Matthew. And we're here with a guest today, Megan. Say hi.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about the Disney XD series Kickin' It. So I have recently watched this show almost all the way through, or halfway through, and I really like it. What is your opinion on it?
I love the show. I think it's awesome to see all the different characters that are in the show, coming from jocks to nerds, that all get along and do this thing together.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good, and it has a very good message, that you don't have to be super cool to have a lot of friends and do what you love.
Or that you don't have to be super cool to beat the crap out of somebody.
Yeah, that too. Because they're not all super cool people, I guess. I don't want to say that, but they all are very independent, and they will stand up for what they think is right.
Mhm.
No matter, especially if you piss them off.
Yep.
I think one of their lines, I think it's Jerry's line, is, "I don't think you meant to do that," or something like that, or you didn't want to do that, or something. Because you don't want to mess with them, and I think that's a good, not a necessarily good message, but not a bad message in the same way.
I agree.
Alright, so now I'm going to do the series overview.
Okay.
Which basically means I'm going to say, when the show premiered and all that. So, this show premiered on June 13th, 2011, and ended on March 25th, 2015. It has 6 main characters: Jack, Milton, Jerry, Kim, Eddie, and Rudy. Leo Howard plays Jack, Dylan Riley Snyder as Milton, Mateo Arias as Jerry, Olivia Holt as Kim, Alex Christian Jones as Eddie, and Jason Earls as Rudy. Jason Earls was also on the show Hannah Montana, also another very famous Disney show, which you can actually see another podcast coming out in the near future about Hannah Montana. So now we're going to go through each character. We're going to kind of give our opinions on them. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite character, I think, is either... I didn't really like them at first. It was either Milton or Kim or Jack. Those are my top 3. I can't really pick. What about you?
Yeah. I would necessarily say that my favorite characters are probably Jack and Kim.
Yeah.
I feel like they are probably the most liked because Jack's kind of the leader of the group and Kim's the only girl.
Yeah. So, what is your opinion on Jack?
I think he's very athletic. He's a very good person. He's a very good character to the show. Like I said, he's a leader of the group, kind of. Even though Rudy's the kind of the adult, he's the sensei or whatever, but he's still the leader because he's the closest out of all the friends. So I like him a lot.
Yeah, I think Jack's one of my favorite characters because he also, he's very independent as a character. He's pretty much he's the main character. He's the most focused on character. He's the most loved, I think, too.
Yeah, and I think he made the most impact with how he was entered into this show by kicking away by kicking into a wall.
Yeah, and also, he also is very, he has the most growth over the show. From being he also, it's really funny watching him from season 1 to season 4 because he grew probably 2 feet, and it's kind of funny to see how they all got older because they're all teenagers and all constantly growing and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you think about Milton?
Milton is very, very funny in my opinion. I feel like he brings a very good sense of humor to the show, and I feel like he's in kind of a ELA term, he's kind of like the glue of the group, where he keeps everybody together when everything's going wrong. He doesn't let things affect the group. So that's what I think about Milton.
Yeah, so Milton is, I didn't like him at first. He was really annoying at first, in my opinion. But as the show came along, he also grew more as a character, and he had more of an impact on the episodes. He always was like more of the comedic relief with Jerry.
Yeah.
And he is very funny. He also a lot of people like view him as like the weakest link of the group because like he's not as strong or as big as the others.
Yeah.
But I actually think he actually has the most potential as a character because everyone like doesn't really like him, but he could probably beat half of those kids up.
Probably, yeah.
So now we have Jerry. What do you think about Jerry?
Jerry is definitely the funniest person out of the group just because of his goofball character and the way he does his woo thing and him dancing and him just doing all these things that like you wouldn't like see in other shows or other characters.
Yeah, so I actually think Jerry is the weakest link of the group, like as like a person, like physical ability and mental ability.
I agree.
But he also is the most funniest character. He's not super smart like Milton. Those two are complete opposites. And Jerry, he's known for his line. He goes like, "Oh, something like, way to go, Jerry," or something like that. Every time in every episode, like he slips up or he'll do something stupid that gets the group into more trouble, and he'll always go like, "Way to go, Jerry."
Yeah.
All right. So, what is your opinion on Kim?
Kim, in my opinion, she's my favorite. Well, obviously, she's a girl, and because like I feel like she kind of shows how girls are capable of doing the same thing that men are, with her strength and her ability to fight off guys that are 10 times stronger than she is, and she's very funny.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Kim, and like she is like the definition of like girls can do whatever they want no matter what, which is a good message, especially at the time, like 2011, like it wasn't like super big in like the Me Too movement or anything like that, but she also like portrayed like a fearless female, and she also was very funny, comedic, and I think one of my favorite characters, also Olivia Holt's really funny, so I really like her.
Yeah.
Alright, so what do you think about Eddie?
Eddie, I was never a big fan of Eddie, and that could also have to do with the fact that he didn't finish the show all the way through. He was only in approximately 2 seasons. But I still thought it was very funny, and he was kind of like the sensitive one of the group because, like, he was the bigger guy, and, I mean, he did get picked on a little bit, but he brings kind of, like, joy to the group.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think it would have been better if Eddie finished off the show. I'm not gonna lie, when I hadn't watched Kicking It for a while, and I went back to watch it, I totally forgot about Eddie because I mostly watched the 3rd and 4th season. So, like, when I came back and saw Eddie, I was like, oh my gosh, but then I see where everyone goes, like, he left. They never really said why he left, and he was also, like, he's never in the main plot, he's always, like, in the subplot. I don't know if you know what that means.
Yeah, I do.
So, like, every episode, like, there's one big plot, and, like, they'll cut to, like, the smaller characters, and usually it's, like, Eddie or Rudy.
Yeah.
And so I think that Eddie was kind of just there as, like, the put-in. And, like, I don't want to, like, throw shade or anything, but I think he was also there for diversity.
Yeah.
Just because, like, it's 2011, they wanted to, like, have a big impact on the show, but he wasn't there for the full 4 seasons, and I think that took away from him as the character, and I think from the show, because he was still funny a lot in most of the times in a lot of the episodes.
Yeah.
Alright, now we're going to talk about Rudy. What do you think of Rudy Gillespie?
Well, he was the, like, leader, sensei person that I talked about in the beginning, and he was kind of like the role model to everybody and how they would, like, grow their paths of their careers and how they would continue to do karate and other things. And he was also kind of like a dad figure because of how much he spent with them and just him helping them through their problems. So he was a big impact on them.
Yeah, I think Rudy is he was a pretty good example setter in most of the episodes. In some of the episodes, he acts like completely dumb, like almost like
Yeah.
his character Jackson on Hannah Montana, not very like smart. But he was a really good like father figure to the kids, and he taught them what's right and what's wrong, and the Wasabi
Mhm.
Code, and also like that they. I think this was like the whole plot of one episode was like that you don't resort to fighting right away because like it doesn't mean that it'll necessarily end any better than it would have if you didn't fight.
Yeah.
So I think there was also some valuable lessons in him, and he was funny, and he was like one of my favorite characters as well. Like I love them all; they're very funny characters and well written.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna kind of talk about each season and go along. Okay.
Okay.
So season one had 21 episodes. It premiered on June 13th, 2011, and ran all the way to March 26th, 2012. I think I didn't say this yet. They have 21 episodes. And my personal favorite episode is either the first episode because like it sets up the show so well, or the one called the Boogie Nights episode, the Halloween episode. I think that was a pretty funny episode.
Okay.
And I also like the one, I think it's the fourth episode where they threaten to close the mall and build
Okay.
apartments.
Um, I would say my favorite episode in the first season was probably the episode where Milton was wearing those costumes and everybody didn't want to. He asked his friends to, but they didn't want to, and they were fighting in the park, and they were like trying to get like the chalices from the other team. I thought that episode was really funny.
Oh yeah, that so she was referring to episode 5, Swords and Magic, where they
Yeah.
like go into the woods. That one's also really good. Like the first one's they're all pretty good episodes. And now for season season 2 premiered on April 2nd, 2012. Had 23 episodes, and its final episode aired on December 3rd, 2012. So, season 2 is I like season 2 a lot. It also has Eddie in it, so this is his final season as a main character. I think one of my favorites is the Capture the Flag episode, where they are on
Okay.
the parade, and it has Kat McNamara, I think that's her name, as like
Yeah, I
Claire.
like that episode too.
Or I also like um let's see. I also like the one where this is probably one of my favorite episodes. It's called New Jack City, and it's where Boo Boo Stewart's character Carson comes in, and they all and he competes instead of Jack in the competition after coming back to the JoJo. And I think it taught a really good lesson about jealousy, and it also taught that just because they're better than you doesn't mean that they deserve more than you. Everyone's pretty much equal, especially
Yeah.
considering that Carson cheated
Yeah.
to get to where he was in the competition. So that was probably one of my favorite episodes. And then Jack goes to join the Black Dragons, which only lasts one episode. And I thought that was a pretty good episode. And they also have a Christmas episode in this season called "Oh Christmas Nuts," based off of Milton's famous saying. So now we're gonna talk about
Um.
season 3. Is that okay?
Okay. Okay.
So season 3 had 22 episodes, premiered on April 1st, 2013, and ended on January 27th, 2014. So I think in
Okay.
season 3 is the one where they introduced the whole spy storyline, right?
Yes.
So I was not that mad at the storyline, but like I think it kind of started to take away from the show. It's like I really liked that it was like a dojo and like they were all friends and misfits, and then they took it to some kind of a different level to get like a
Yeah.
different crowd of people to watch their show.
Yeah, because when they bring in like the different characters and the different spots, um, I think it kind of was like a foreshadowing way of telling us that like that was maybe going to be like a remake of the show or like a spin-off
Yeah,
of
I
the
definitely
show.
thought that's where I was going because that's where a lot of Disney shows at the time, like they would like set up shows like to just like set up shows. And I thought with the third season, I think definitely could have thought that it was gonna like end after the third season because they were gonna make a spin-off because of that's where the direction sounded like it was going.
Yeah.
So I think my favorite episode of this season is the monster truck episode with the black dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Dojo. That one's really good. Or even the finale was probably one of my favorites. Trying to
Yeah,
look what it
I
was
like
called.
that
Wasabi
one, too.
Forever.
I like that one, too, because of how they all kind of just, like, reminisce together of all their good times and how they, read the story of how, like, they're, like, in quotes, because they're not technically, but their ancestors and how, like, their whole karate heritage started.
Yeah, and also because this is actually Kim's not final episode, but final episode as a main character.
Yeah.
So definitely one of my favorites. So season 4 is probably my least favorite season of the show and the shortest.
Most likely because, like, it's not, like, the same as it used to be because, like, it doesn't have Kim and, well, she's mostly the only one that's not there, but, like, it just kind of impacted the show on how people see it because, I mean, if, like, Kim was the person's favorite character and she wasn't in it anymore, like, the person probably wasn't going to want to watch the show anymore.
Yeah, so this season premiered on February 17th, 2014, had 18 episodes, and ended on March 25th, 2015, which is also the series finale. So in this season, I think probably my favorite episode was probably the last one called The Grandmaster, because Kim came back.
I like that one too, but I also like the one about the lunar eclipse and Rudy's arch nemesis or like frenemy Ty pranks them into thinking that a pirate named Longshanks coming out to get them.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about. The Invasion of the Ghost Pirates.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's a good one too. So let's see what else. And then also I feel like in this season it was more Jack and Milton were really good friends, which you didn't really see that in any part of like the series before that. They were kind of just like there with each other, but they never really were like close friends.
Yeah, and another huge part of that season was they weren't in the same location as they were in the top 3 seasons. They moved to a different like part of the mall or so, and like changed hangouts and where they were. So.
So I totally forgot to bring this up when we were talking about characters, but I think Phil and Joan should have been promoted to leads.
Oh yeah.
In like like every season, because they were almost in like every episode.
Yeah, especially Phil, because I mean he's like Rudy's best friend, and Joan, like, was kind of like a female character.
Yeah, Joan was probably one of my favorites because obviously she's like super super funny, but she also she has like good messages and like in a way like they're not always super prevalent, but she definitely has some good messages in there. And I love her saying "Holy Hannah" because like I'll just randomly like be talking, I'll just say "Holy Hannah."
Yeah.
And I think that it was really cool that they were in so many episodes, but I definitely think they could have been promoted to leads because they were in almost every episode.
I agree.
Especially in the 4th season when they only had 4 episodes, or like they only had 4 main characters.
Yeah.
Oh, and then also one of my other favorite episodes that necessarily focuses on Joan is the one, it's in season 2, I don't know what it's called. It's the one where she takes Eddie into jail because he thinks he stole something and didn't pay for something.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, she locks herself in the jail cell and they have to crawl out through the vents. That one's that was probably one of my favorite episodes as well.
I think you're talking about episode 3 having to do with, like, the family, because in that episode 2 they're dealing with like the Meatball King and how Jerry like abandoned them because he bought the go-kart.
Yeah, that I think that I think that's the one. Cause Joan was that was one of my favorite episodes.
I agree. I like that one too.
And then I also they also have some pretty notable guest stars in a lot of the episodes. Like they had Gabby Douglas was in one. There was this, let's see, I'm trying to think of, like, the good, notable one.
Catherine McNamara.
Yeah, and then Kyrie Irving was in the show as well.
Yep.
The Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh yeah, them too.
Like they had a lot of good guest stars, and they just didn't write them in because like they got an offer. I think they were well written episodes because usually like they'll get a celebrity's gonna come on our show. Let's just write in a part for them.
Yeah.
So now we pretty much covered all of the episodes. Um, now I asked this question. I'm gonna start asking this question on every episode. Is do you think that this show would survive on Disney Channel like today?
Um, my personal opinion, I probably would say that it wouldn't last, only because I feel like with the decreasing of characters, like main characters from the beginning, that kind of impacted the plot of the show and how it like made the show fun, and how them like doing other things in their acting careers with like bigger promotions and stuff. I just feel like it wouldn't last because they producers or writers would run out of ideas with limiting characters and just having already 4 seasons.
Yeah, like if it started airing like in 2019, I don't think it would last. Mostly because like today's Disney Channel is like really like they have two shows like about internet and like YouTube ripoffs. Because like that's what
Yeah.
our world is today.
Mhm.
I definitely don't think it would have really lasted much longer, and I don't even think that I would have watched it. Like,
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have either.
but I think it was definitely in it now like watching it's kind of dated a little bit, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that it's a great show, and I wish they if they played reruns, I would still watch it. I
I
think
would
it would,
still watch it too.
but I don't think if like they had new episodes, I feel like it wouldn't be as meaningful.
No.
So now, is there anything you would change about the show?
Um, I don't think there's anything necessarily that I changed about the show because I liked it, other than the fact that maybe like Olivia Holt probably like even though it was her decision to leave the crew and the show, I would still feel like I would want her to come back and just like finish the season because like she missed 1 season even though she guest starred in like maybe 3 or 4 of them. So that's probably the only thing I would change.
Yeah, I think one of the things I would change would be keep Eddie and Kim in all 4 seasons because like they were pretty good characters, but once they left, like they didn't like really acknowledge them in any way.
Yeah,
And then also, I think once they people started leaving, they could have maybe added like a new character.
I feel that too.
But I
Like even
think
when you said
the reason that they didn't do that is because they didn't want to like necessarily mess up the show because like people liked it the way it was.
or maybe because like they were planning on ending it after 4 seasons, so they just didn't want to bring in like characters that were only on 1 season or even just a couple episodes, and that would just like end like their
Yeah,
like
because like that wouldn't necessarily be good for like the show. And no Disney show usually gets past 4 seasons, so I think it was pretty good that it made 4 seasons. Any show that makes past 3 is always good, but there's not been a Disney show to make it to 5 yet.
yeah
So I think they were playing the business model smart. They didn't want to get too, and like I think they wanted to stay on the air too, cause like maybe if they
yeah
didn't like the character, that could bring down ratings, and the show was pretty well put together.
yeah it was, but I
And
think it
so the only thing that I really have to say about this show is that I think it did send a little bit of it had some good messages but also had some very negative messages like
yeah
resulting to fighting, and the show like in some parts got pretty violent in my opinion.
yeah I agree, but I mean like with those bad messages with the fighting and maybe like just like disrespecting others, but as well as like good messages having to do with friendship and how like you succeed in things and help your friends like do what they want.
Yeah. And I don't really think there's anything else we need to really talk about for Kicking It. So we're gonna wrap this up. So I want to thank thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
And this was Kickin' It and you're watching Disney Channel. I hope to see you guys in another episode. That's a wrap on this episode of That's So Matthew. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please check out some of my other episodes that can be found on Anchor or Spotify. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys tune in to some of my other episodes. New episodes should be released weekly, so check back often. And I'll see you soon. Bye!